Garrett Robinson here, and it's my 10th episode of my sporadic web series as I try to get a job on The Hobbit. And since 10 has long been regarded as a magical number by the ancient tribe of it's only appropriate that this episode is really special. First, as you might have seen on my blog, I went in for the Elven casting call last Saturday. Now, honestly, I'm the kind of guy who prefers to be behind the camera rather than in front of it. I mean, for one thing, I'm not as pleasant to look at as, say, Viggo Mortensen or Orlando Bloom. No, hey! Get out of here! That's not even him, it's just a photo! Sorry about that. But anyway, if I don't get a job on the crew before filming starts, then being an extra might be a great way to meet more people. The casting call was great, and you can read the article about it on my blog. I ended up talking to these 4 people, and one of them was like, I hope they don't quiz us on the book or something. And another guy was like, yeah, right, what are they gonna ask? What are the names of the 3 trolls that try to eat the dwarves? Immediately, I go, Bert, Tom, and Bill. And they all laughed. They're like, yeah, right, just make something up. To which I replied, no, really, the 3 trolls' names are Bert, Tom, and Bill. At that point, there was kind of an awkward silence. Now, I want to tell you about this great guy that I've just met down here. His name is Jack Macchiella. He's originally Dutch, but he's been living in New Zealand since 1989, which is almost how long I've been alive. Sorry, Jack. So I basically consider him a New Zealander. Jack has been a tour guide of the Lord of the Rings film set since right after the 3rd movie came out. I mean, it's been 7 or 8 years. Well, Jack also runs a Hobbit movie news blog. It's called the Noldor blog. It's totally great. He found me because of my blog. We were kind of blog brothers, blog others, blothers, blog thers, broggers, blood blog others, blood bloggers? Anyway, we decided to meet up for coffee on his day off yesterday. He ended up taking me over to Mount Victoria, where a bunch of the film shots were shot. First, we went to this huge cleft in the side of the mountain, and that's where they shot the scenes from Dunharrow, where the riders of Rohan gathered right before riding off to war in Gondor. As we walked into the place, this young college student walks up to the 2 of us and asks if we wouldn't mind answering some questions for a college project that he's working on. His name is Hugh, and he goes to Massey University here in Wellington. No, the word Massey is not slang for really, really big. Massey was the last name of a New Zealand Prime Minister back in the day, so there's your little bit of New Zealand education for the day. Well, Hugh got more than he bargained for with the 2 of us. Turns out he's a little bit of a Tolkien fan as well, and with the 2 of us, he was geeking out, man. So one of the things Jack does as a tour guide is he has an iPhone with a whole library of Lord of the Rings images and videos taken from the films onto his phone. So here's what he does. First, he showed us an original raw footage shot from the set of the Lord of the Rings. Now, the shot was actually shot during the day. In it, on the edge of the frame, you can clearly see Wellington houses off to the side, and other than that, the rider is just standing in front of a huge blue screen on the ground. Then he just flips over to the final shot, and the whole thing has been transformed. It's at night, the rider is standing at a huge cliff descending into nothingness, and of course there's no house 30 feet away from him. While we were talking about the making of the films, I really impressed Jack by knowing what the Pukel Men were. If you don't know what the Pukel Men were, they were... You know what? Never mind. If you don't already know, then you probably don't care. Afterwards, me, Jack, and Hugh trooped off into the woods and the trails and the wooded trails leading all over the mountain. It was such an amazing space. You felt like you could wander around some bend or peek out from behind a tree and just run into a group of hobbits tramping their merry way through the Shire. Jack showed us the spot where the hobbits hid under a tree from the Nazgul in the first film. That was, let's just say that was an emotional moment for me. For anybody who doesn't know, that was the first shot out of all 3 movies ever. 11 years ago, right where I was standing, Peter Jackson and 4 young actors who the world didn't really know yet were starting work on the films that were going to change my life. I didn't cry or anything much. The tree they hid under is no longer there. Turns out it was actually a real tree, but brought in from outside the forest because they wanted that particular tree. But Jack showed us the background, where the camera was placed, and the exact spot where the tree actually was when they shot the scene. The next spot Jack took us to was the tree where Frodo and Sam had breakfast on the first morning of their journey. Of course, I had my camera with me, so the three of us relived the moment, complete with pipes. Alright, so at this point, I have to work on The Hobbit. I mean, of course I already wanted to, but yesterday was like a spiritual moment for me. It just reinforced my desire to work on the film tenfold. Well, I'd better sign off. I have a busy day tomorrow. I'm going to be moving into a flat in town. It's also right down the street from the area where Sir Ian McKellen is staying while he's down here. What? Stalk him? No, I'm not the kind of guy who would... Completely separate question. If anybody knows how restraining orders work in New Zealand, could you just shoot me a little email? Oh, no reason. No reason. I need to take one out on someone who's been following me. Alright, I'm out. Thank you so much for watching my video, and if this is Peter Jackson watching this, I hope to be working with you soon.